So as in the last video we have discussed about the structure of nephron and types of nephron. Alright, so in today's video we'll be going with act of micturation, which means the passing out of urine from the body. So that process is known as act of micturation. Alright, so here I am going to make the diagram. First of all, see this topic. So we have act of micturation. Alright, so I am going to make here the diagram. So suppose this is our body. Alright, this is our body. Here somewhere we have the kidneys. Alright, here we have kidneys, one kidney and other kidney. Alright, so now we have ureters, which I'm going to make with these colors. These are the ureters. Here these are the ureters. So now I'm going to make the urinary bladder. So urinary bladder I'm going to make with this color. Alright, so here I am making urinary bladder. This is the urinary bladder, and here finally we have the urethra, so which I am going to make with this color. Alright, so this is the urethra. So as you can see here in the diagram, two kidneys we do have, so I should label these as well. So this is what, this is kidney, I do have kidney. Alright, so this is the ureter, and this is the urinary bladder, then I have urethra. Alright, this is the urethra. Alright, so now we know that the formation of urine is happening where? It is happening in the kidney, and urea was formed in the liver, then urea was brought to the kidney. Now kidney will make urine. Alright, so after kidney the urine will be formed. So in these ureters the urine will travel, so that I am making with green color. So basically this is the urine I do have. This is the urine. Alright, this would be the urine, and ultimately it will go where? It will go to the urinary bladder. Alright, so in the urinary bladder what we do have stretch receptors. So I am going to make those stretch receptors now. Alright, so here I have the layer of smooth muscles. These are the layer, this is the layer of smooth muscles. Alright, so here what we have the layer of smooth muscle. I should write here, this is what? This is muscular layer. And we know that we do have three types of muscles. The first one is skeletal muscles, then we do have smooth muscles, then we have cardiac muscles. Cardiac muscles are present in our heart, and skeletal muscles which are in our control, which are voluntary. Alright, and smooth muscles are involuntary. So here the muscles which we will find in the urinary bladder will be smooth muscles. So I should write here smooth muscles. Alright, so now these muscles in the urinary bladder are also known as dry tissue muscle. So here I am writing dry tissue muscles. The muscles which are present in the urinary bladder are known as dry juicer muscles. Alright, so now what we do have, now we have two sphincters. A sphincter is nothing but it is a band. Alright, so I am going to make here two sphincters. The one sphincter we do have here and other we do have here. Alright, so the sphincter which is here will be known as inner sphincter. So I am going to write here down. This is what? This is internal sphincter. Internal sphincter. Sphincter. And this is involuntary, like this is not in our control. Internal sphincter is not in our control, but the external sphincter is in our control. So external sphincter, here I'm going to write it down. External sphincter, and it is in our control. Alright, now think, if the inner sphincter would be in our control, then it would like we need to push it out. Alright, but if it is not our control, so it is a good thing. Alright, and external sphincter, if it would be involuntary, then we would always like pee everywhere. Alright, so this is a very good thing that it is in our control and we are not peeing everywhere. So now we should go towards the process how it happens. Now I am telling you that act of micturation is what? It is a reflexive process, and reflexive process, like in reflex actions, the modulator is always spinal cord. Alright, so here I am going to make here the diagram. So basically this is my brain, not my but everyone's. Alright, and here I have spinal cord. Wait, here I have spinal cord. So I should write here. Alright, this is what? This is spinal cord, and this is what? This is our brain. I have written this as well. So this is our brain and that is our spinal cord. So here I am going to make the urinary bladder, because we know that the stretch receptors are present where? These are present in the urinary bladder. So I am going to make that. I should make with this color now. Alright, so here I am going to make urinary bladder. Here is my urinary bladder. Here I am making the internal sphincter. Then we do have urethra. So this is the urethra. Then we have again external sphincter. So here is our external sphincter. Alright, inside the urinary bladder we do have dry tubular muscular layer, which is made up of smooth muscles. So I am going to make those. So here I am going to make, this is the layer. Alright, so this is the layer of smooth muscles, which are also known as dry tubular muscles. So now we do have some receptors as well. Those receptors are known as stretch receptors, which are present in the urinary bladder. So I am going to make those receptors now with the dark pink color. So here I have some receptors which are known as stretch receptors. Alright, so here we have now urine inside. This is the urine I do have inside in the urinary bladder. So now I should label these all things. Alright, this is what? This is external sphincter. external sphincter, and here we do have internal sphincter, internal sphincter, and this is the urethra. We know that, that's why I am not going to label it. And here we have what, here we have dry tussor muscular layer. So I'm just going to write here muscular layer, muscular layer. All right, and here I have stretch receptors, stretch receptors. All right, so inside the urinary bladder the urine is there. All right, so now when the urine will come to the urinary bladder, these stretch muscles will receive this information and will generate a nerve impulse. All right, so nerve impulse then will be carried by the sensory neuron. So I am going to make here the sensory neuron. This will be carried by the sensory neuron. So this is the sensory neuron, which I'm going to write sensory neuron, which will carry what? Which carry nerve impulse, which will be generated by these receptors, stretch receptors. All right, so in this case, as I told you, in the reflex action modulator is spinal cord. So spinal cord will read this information and will generate a command, and that command will be carried out by the motor neuron then. All right, so I am going to make here the motor neuron with this color. All right, so here motor neuron will give command to these muscles. Here I should write motor neuron. This is motor neuron, and motor neuron will carry what? It will carry command to the muscular layer of the urinary bladder. All right, and in this case what will like now contract here in the urinary bladder? Dry tussor muscles, like the muscles, the smooth muscles which are present in the urinary bladder, dry tussor muscle will contract, and when it will contract, the internal sphincter will be open. All right, so motor neuron motor neuron will give here two commands. All right, one command will be given to the dry tussor muscles to contract, and second command will be given to the, wait, let me make here, second command will be given to the internal sphincter. All right, so here I am writing again motor neuron, because in this like condition, two commands will be given to the urinary bladder. One command will be given to the dry tussor muscles to contract, another command will be given to the internal sphincter to open so that urine can go. All right, so now the urine is here in the urethra, it's here in the urethra. So finally the external sphincter is in our control, we can open it in any time. So we'll open this external sphincter and finally the urine will come out. All right, so this is the urine, and this is known as micturation. So here I should write it down, it is known as micturation. So this whole process is known as act of micturation. All right, so let me repeat this for you guys. what is happening here, like in the urinary bladder we do have diatyser muscle, which are smooth muscle, which are not in our control. When urine will come to the urinary bladder from the by the help of ureters from the kidney, they'll come to the urinary bladder. In urinary bladder diatyser muscle, there are receptors like stretch receptors. They'll receive this information and they'll generate a nerve impulse. That nerve impulse will be carried by the sensory neuron and will carry it to the spinal cord, because in this case in the reflex action the modulator is the spinal cord. So here spinal cord will generate a command and it will be carried, the command will be carried by the motor neuron. That motor neuron, here the two motor neuron will be like giving commands, like here two commands will be generated. One command will be given to the diatyser muscles to contract and other command will be given to the internal sphincter to open. Alright, so when one command will be given to the diatyser muscle, they'll contract, and ultimately second command will go into the internal sphincter to open. When internal sphincter will be opened, the urine will be going to the urethra then, and finally the last sphincter, the external sphincter, is in our control. Like we can open it anytime. It is in our control. So external sphincter will open by ourselves, and finally the urine will come out from the body. So this process is known as act of micturation. In next video, we'll be going with the formation of urine. The formation of urine includes three processes. The first one is glomerular filtration, second is tubular reabsorption, third one is tubular secretion. So we'll be going with the urine formation in the next video. This was all for today.